Hey guys, welcome back to Twist and Shout. And of course, hopefully by the end of the video, you will have something to shout about. Now, it's my understanding and my duty to try to bring as much knowledge as I possibly can consume myself and deliver it in an effective manner. With that being said, I like to educate on hair growth, hair shedding, whatever that I can find, that I can research, that I can also prove through myself as being a model. Whenever I demonstrate or experiment on my own, I can say yes or no. Now, disclaimer, I'm no teacher, I'm no chemist, I'm no lawyer, I'm none of those things. I'm no nutritionist. I am simply a stay-at-home mom who is doing independent research at her own risk and at her own discretion. That simple. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about what brings me here today. This is a topic that I did research probably 2 years ago. Did not put too much thought and effort because, like many, I was, okay, screw the science part. Just give me the antidote. Just like if you got a cold, whatever, you just like, look, let me know what works. Doesn't matter the side effects per se, or yada, yada, yada. I just want to feel better. And the same thing, how we have become with our hair growth is we just want this popcorn experience. Like, hey, give it to me fast and skip all the other stuff. But as a mature, responsible adult, I would like to recommend that you do your research. Take your time. Don't wait till you have an issue, which by default, that's what we do. Like with my postpartum shed, and I'm like, what is going on? Because I was pregnant many moons ago. As I told you guys, my daughter is now 11 to my 15-month-old son. So you do the math. So I remember a little something, but I don't remember everything that occurred. But anywho, I say that to say that, hey, if you have the time, do your research. Even if you got to do it by day, by weekly, whatever it takes to get the job done, because at the end of the day, you don't want to get caught off guard, you don't want to be at a loss, and you don't want to be stuck in a corner wondering who, what, when, and why. So what I did was I went back and researched the hair stage growth phase. And it's just, there's two models. One is 3-point, which is anagen, catagen, and telogen. Then there's another that actually says, no, technically there are 4 phases. And that includes the anagen, the catagen, the telogen, and the exogen stage. So that makes 4 stages. However, whatever one you decide to go by, they're kind of pretty much the same, because in the first model, where there's 3 parts, what's explained in the exogen phase can easily be noted with the telogen stage, or it goes without saying. But a lot of people want to be technical, and they have what they say. All right, so these other stages that I'm pretty sure nobody takes the time to study, nobody really cares, they kind of go without notice. And I would like to say, if you don't hear from anybody else, they are just as, if not equally important as the anagen stage. I know everybody cares about hair growth, and I want my hair to grow, and I don't care about this, that, and the third. I'm tired of being bald. I'm tired of shedding. But they all are important, and they all work together, and they all can work against each other depending on what you know, and your knowledge, and your understanding. Okay, first things first. There's a rule that a lot of people say that everybody hair grows no matter what, all the time. False. And let me tell you, and this is what brings me to the study, because anagen is the stage, yes, where your hair actually does grow. It's a stage that lasts a long time, but it's not continuous, and it's not for infinity. It has a closing period. And usually, or on average, you have, again, 2 models or 2 estimates. One says 3 to 5, the other says 4 to 6, and then there's one that says 2 to 6. Whatever you choose to believe, just know that it's not forever, and you do have a stage or a phase where your hair ain't going to do nothing, or you're not going to see a change, okay? So that's true. Another thing is that shedding is necessarily associated to something going wrong, or something going haywire, which there are things that factor to the rate of shedding, but truth of the matter is that some shedding is appropriate. Not saying that you're supposed to have like a block of hay worth. But there's research that has indicated through study that you shed 50 to 100 strands a day. Which doesn't mean that, okay, you're going to find hair strands all over your clothing every day, because that may not be the case. It may come through combing, brushing, whatever the case. There are factors that go without saying that people tend to kind of say, you know what? Or they maybe don't even take a moment to think about it, but a lot of people do. And I would give credit to where credit's due. Understand that your diet, your stress levels, your age, your ethnicity, these all play a part, but they are not the whole picture. Follow me, okay? And that is scientifically proven, because a lot of people quit to throw out, hey, ethnicity does matter. Yeah, it does, but it's not the whole picture. Your diet does matter, but it is not the whole picture. So I just need to stress that to you guys. And especially because I deal with a lot of different products. And y'all all seen the video where use of Shea Moisture and how my shedding kind of picked up. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I still don't believe that Shea Moisture has something to do with it. However, I would like to, micro into a different type of way of thinking or knowledge or understanding of things that can actually help things from not occurring in your factor or in your way. And with that being said, Shea Moisture products are supposed to be paraben-free, silicone-free, and just pretty much organic ingredients and products. Okay, I'm going to go through a very detailed listing of what is said to stimulate or elongate the anagen phase. But before I get into it, I have to give you some more fact. Truth. Your average hair growth is 0.5 inches or a half an inch a month. That is true. There is such thing as alopecia, and it can be a factor in this whole stage, like whether you see results or you don't, or you just see excessive hair fall. From further research, I did see that, because I made a comment on, or somebody made a comment on one of my pictures about March winds blows your hair away. And a lot of people do believe that the cycle and seasons of life also affect your hair. And I do have a few notes here that from research that you may experience on average as a person a lot of hair fall and shedding in fall, which would make sense because that's when the universe is changing all over, like the sun, the moon, the lighting, the temperatures. Like there's a lot of changes going on in fall, right? So it would make sense that our body also does the same. Now, what I would say is, when you're speaking on a nature human standpoint, and this is not through research, but through what I understand and what I perceive, usually with the animals outside, God actually incorporated them to have thickened hair or fur to actually accommodate the colder months. So I don't see how there will be a difference between them and humans, because, I mean, even though we're not outside, again, our bodies should adapt to the changes surrounding around us. So I would think in that moment, it would be, hey, let's do all we can to thicken up and get right. But that's just me. But according to science, your hair actually falls more in the fall. Disclaimer, and this is science, trimming or cutting does not change your hair cycle. So with that being said, for anybody who throws that out there, that is not a dominant factor at all, or if any, about you cutting or trimming your hair, or when you're doing it, or how you do it. Now, of course, trimming and cutting eliminate split ends, and you can say, well, my split ends help my hair to grow. No, your hair grows from your root. The trimming and cutting of your ends can make it look nice. It can actually avoid from when your hair gets to that point from breaking off, but it does not initiate hair growth at all. That's science. Okay, the catagen phase, right? This is when the hair detaches from the blood vessels that give it the oxygen and nutrients that it needs. Obviously, when this happens, the hair is not receiving anything at all. So, in essence, it's pretty much saying that no matter what you put on your hair topical, it's not really gonna help as much as if it was connected to the blood vessel, if any, because this blood vessel is actually sending signals that, hey, you can grow now. Hey, I'm giving you what you need now. So, and it's science, not me. This stage can actually last on average for 2 weeks. I did see another research that actually says 3 to 5 weeks, and I also see one that actually went as far as to say as 6 weeks. Nonetheless, there's a stage where your hair is detached from the blood vessel, so it's not getting any nutrients, any oxygen, and it's just there. It's just like blood vessel, your hair. It was here, it goes like this. In essence, for example, I guess with our bodies, let's look at it this way. When the baby's in the body and they are detached or attached to the umbilical cord, where they obviously get everything from the mom. And then when it becomes detached, or when it becomes strangled or tied around the baby somehow, that calls for alarm or an emergency response because, hello, the baby can't get what it needs. All right, so that's the 2 stages, the anagen, the catagen. And then there is the telogen phase. This is the phase of rest, where it can last anywhere between 3 to 6 months. You can either discourage or encourage it by your stress, your diet, and this is where vitamins and mineral deficiency play a huge part. So, even though it is recommended that you take supplements year-round, you want to definitely either amp it up or make double sure that you are taking your vitamins in these seasons. So if we want to go with what science says, when it comes to the winter and the fall months, make sure that you are definitely on your game when it comes to your vitamins. Because also, one thing that I do know, and like I said, this is outside of research, for me personally, in the fall and in winter months, I don't drink as much. Versus obviously summer months in the spring because it's hotter and you get dehydrated quicker. But that doesn't mean that your body needs less. You actually still need to keep that same level of water content up, if not more, because you have to make sure your body is actually working the way it should. All right, so then there's the phase that, like I said, through some research, some new research, estrogen phase, which is where the hair that's actually was resting actually decides to fall off. Now, again, aside from research, this is where I'm just like, if it just stops and eliminates from the blood flow, how come I'm not like bald, right? Like that would just make sense. Like if these same hairs that when they were thriving from the blood vessel detach themselves, wouldn't it make sense instead of having hair shed like from the ends, it would actually just be like hair fall from the scalp? And let me answer that as well. Again, research is powerful, y'all. Okay, going back to the anagen stage. The anagen stage actually occurs to 90% of your hair, not all of the hair. And the telogen phase is actually occurring or established with 10% of your hair. So, in essence, there are different hair follicles that are independent from each other, or hair strands, and they work differently than the mass or the minority. And in this case, the bulk of your hairs do what they're supposed to do, which is grow and thrive. And then there's that 10% that, you know, they chill, then they shed, and they fall and die off. Make sense? All right, so again, 50 to 100 hair falls or strands a day is what they say. And a lot of people don't see that, but I'm just like, you don't watch your hair 24/7. And I know me personally, when I comb, hair comes out. Now, of course, I'm not counting the hairs, but even when, prime example, this is for me. When I wash my hair, right, and I show y'all what is left over, what I gather, I'm pretty sure that is at least 50 strands balled up. And then don't forget the little teeny weeny pieces that escape in the water that you can't catch and that you don't get to hold on to because they're too little and tiny. So I truly believe that, I'm not going to say on average a day, 50 to 100. If anything, I will drop that down to say anywhere between 10 and 50, like on the lower end. But like I said, this is for everybody on average. So it's not just African Americans and it's not just white. It's everybody in the entire world. Okay, gender does play a role. Through research, it says that women tend to shed way more than men, but that's kind of, you know, we can kind of see that, right? Like when they start to grow their hair, it's like, dang, you just started growing your hair last month. How come you got a ponytail? Whereas if it was me, I probably won't get a ponytail until about 3 months later. Yeah, God, what's up with that? The shedding phase, where the rate may be a little more noticeable, science has noted July. And particularly women, again, like July may be the shed month, or the month where hair just say, wee, and just fall out. All right, so I did go and research a list that I did a while back when I started to work my own concoctions to do my own growth oil. And I ran across the website of Naturally Curly, and they actually had a listing. However, this listing was from 2014, so I'm pretty sure things have changed since then and research has developed. But on the list, they have top 10 stimulating things that will help aid in growth. And there's peppermint, lavender, rosemary, stinging nettle, Jamaican black castor oil, aloe vera, sage, onion juice, apple cider vinegar, and eggs. This is where I say you have to be careful about what do you think is stimulating, what do you think is promoting, and what is, because at the end of the day, we want to prolong the stage that's already long, right? So I give people that. Like, your hair is probably growing anyway. Whoop-de-doo. Yes, you should know that. If you don't know, now you know. Like, more than likely, you're probably going to always catch the growing stage and not the non-growing stage. However, I would like to say that you can't tell someone who is literally, like, examining their hair by the day, as y'all know, and putting something on their scalp and saying, all right, this actually stimulated some growth. Does that mean that it necessarily prolonged the anagen stage? No. One thing that has come out of research is that MSM can actually elongate that stage. One of the only things that I have yet to come across that actually promotes itself as, yes, this will actually elongate the anagen stage. With that being said, the MSM is now being put in products for your hair. Now, the controversy, like with biotin, is that these things are meant to be eternally taken and not on the top, on the surface, or on the top of your hair and scalp. Now, I would say, to me personally, that makes sense. Like, when I took biotin, the liquid form, my hair thickened up pretty well. Now, is it to the point where I can say, oh, I must have that? No. I think there's plenty of other things that you can do. Now, if you're someone that you're not a product person and you're just like, hey, I just care about my inside out, then of course, just get the supplements. And this is why I say in this journey, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure my hair is thick, elongated, and stimulated, and to continually grow and to shed as least as possible so that I can actually see the length being retained. And with that being said, there is a difference between stimulating and retaining length. The stimulating comes from your scalp, which means you as yourself can do something about that. Now, the stages of your cycle may necessarily be out of your hands, but you can aid it to a certain extent based on what you eat, your mentality, like your stress levels, your age, your ethnicity, your gender. All of that does play a portion of the picture, but it's not the whole picture. So, things that you can control. How much water you take in. What type of foods do you gravitate towards? Meat is a very big deal. Protein. You can obviously take a protein treatment topical, and that has proved to done wonders. However, I do believe in balance, like inside and outside. And the MSM, I don't have it with me, but the Camilla Rose, I'll put it on the screen. They have an oil that has MSM in it. The oil is $15. Now, what I did, I took it upon myself to buy the powder MSM myself, and that cost $7 for like a container like this, like powder form. And I used it for like a day or two. I was not persistent or consistent with it, so I would have to go back and do that again. The same thing with the Camilla Rose oil. It's meant for the scalp, and I think I was using it to try to seal my hair, which is awful. But I'll probably go back and try to, redo that. Let me make sure I got everything for y'all. Okay, newer research shows that there are other things that can stimulate growth, and that's like vitamin C, avocado, teas, coffee, because they have caffeine in it. And I did mention the MSM. But again, you want to be careful with the MSM intake, because if you're breastfeeding, nursing, you're pregnant, you can't do it. It's harmful. I believe Curly Power said that she gained weight with it, so she went to try to use it topical. And another person I seen, it was too potent, so it actually caused the reversing. It was like a give and take. Like the strands that was holding on, they did get long, but then there was some spots that the hair just fell out. So it's like, do you want to have a pretty picture, or do you want the whole picture? And obviously, if that was me, I would have did the same thing as her, which was stop taking it. Now, let me tell you what I've noticed since I've been taking MSM for the last week. Not consistent at all, like probably twice a week. And I've been putting it in my herbal tea so that I can't taste it because it's very bitter. And one thing I noticed right away is that, yes, it does make you gain weight, because I had 2 doctor appointments the week before and the week after, and I had already gained a pound or 2. And it's like, I just left here. Also, it's meant for joint pain. And I did notice my hands, and I have a problem with my hands anyway, so this has kind of intensified it. Like I had carpal tunnel when I was pregnant, and even before then my hand would just cramp up, like with braiding and stuff, and I could braid pretty good and pretty tight, but my hands would just cramp up. And the MSM seemed to intensify that. I'm talking about just me putting my hand in the fist. It felt like I was lifting 100 pounds or something, of pressure, like real bad. But that's probably the only side effects I realized right away. I would say if you don't have to, don't bother with it at all. I would say the list I gave you of the things that will stimulate you is pretty good enough. And I would say, with that being said, we're going to hop into products, right? Okay, so what makes this so special? You may already know. Peppermint is in here. So, of course, that's going to stimulate your hair growth. And peppermint it only has 4 ingredients besides fragrance. So, with that being said, the peppermint oil is probably pretty potent, because you can smell it just by smelling the container. So, this is what makes this so special, right? So, this, again, disclaimer, for anybody who sits there and say it's not about the product per se on your scalp. Yes, the product does matter, but more importantly, the ingredients. Okay. What makes this so special, right? This has tar oil, right? And I can't remember what actually makeup of the tar oil actually helps to stimulate the growth, but it does. And the Dew Grow, can you see that? There you go. Triple strength. This, of course, has sulfur and menthol. So they both gonna aid and stimulate hair growth, because they give that tingling and they actually warm up the scalp. So remember, warming, stimulating, warming, stimulating. Like just pretty much waking up your scalp and say, hello, do what you're supposed to do. The same thing with sulfur 8. You have the sulfur and the menthol. And let's go here, right? This is considered one of the more on the ends of a pure product, because it has more good stuff in it, like the olive oil, the rosemary, the castor oil, the sage. So this product pretty much put, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 of the 10 things that are noted to stimulate growth are in here. So that would make this very powerful and very potent, right? So imagine like taking this and then added it with the additional products, as I did, and we're going to see how that goes. What else I have here? Okay, I have here the Nature's Blessing, which I haven't used yet, but I picked it up for these ingredients. Nettle is number 1, and stinging nettle actually cures and stops alopecia. Rosemary, sage, peppermint, thyme. What's that? Alfalfa? I don't know. I'm gonna look that up. Pure virgin olive oil, pure coconut oil, sage oil, rosemary oil, bergamot oil. All of these things are things that actually stimulate your scalp and help it to grow. So this seems like it's gonna be something very interesting, very good. So good that I probably can actually use this alone. Like, I would say, for someone out there that says, I'm not into all that mixing and things like that, I would just go try these. Check and make sure I told you guys everything, and I think I did. All right, I'm going to do a series on this where I actually break this down in smaller section and pieces, because I know this was a lot. But my whole thing is, the more you know, the better you know, right? So, what did we learn today? That our hair has stages, right? Can the stages be manipulated? Yes. Is there some part of the stage that cannot be manipulated? Yes. Again, for anybody who just hair grows all the time, what can we tell them? No, it does not. The hair has a resting phase where it's doing nothing. All right. So again, this is what we love. This is with respect. I love you guys. I just want to educate you guys. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, share, tell someone, tell a friend. Knowledge is power. I love you guys. God bless. Take care. Bye.